focus your podcast to get best results, why you should do one, and how you go about thinking about preparing for and getting started with a podcast. In future sessions, we're going to talk about the sort of nuts and bolts of getting set up, how to find guests to book if you're going to be interviewing people, how to wow those guests with your professionalism, and how to structure and run your podcast interviews. But today we're going to talk about how to determine what you're going to do, why you might want to have a podcast in the first place, and how to sort of go about setting that up in the beginning. So just to sort of explain my story with podcasting, I've been a speaker for a long time. I was in training years ago when I was in corporate, and my first sort of foray into the podcasting world was actually a live radio show, which wasn't really technically podcasting in those days, and we still don't even have it on iTunes. And then I started doing a podcast for Engage for Success, the national movement for employee engagement, and that was 4.5 years ago. And we do that live, and we still do that live now on a weekly basis, but then that's also available on archive as a podcast. I also published a podcast for an organisation where I did some interviews, and we recorded them and put those out for people to learn about the topic. And I also do a couple of other live radio shows now, and also my own podcast, which is Power to Live More. So they're different types of podcasting, either live, a bit like we're doing now, or recorded and then put up after the event. So quite a bit of podcasting going on at this end. What's interesting for this particular group, I guess, is that I don't actually do any of the live stuff, any of the video, and we joke about that on a regular basis because everyone else does it and I don't. I know I should and I don't want to. I don't like doing video, so this is interesting for me to do. But I really, really love audio, which is why podcasting for me is a great way to speak online without having to do the whole video piece. So I want to start by thinking about why you might have a podcast, so what it might do for your business and why you might choose to do that yourself, other than the fact that you don't have to do video, which is one of the reasons why I do it. So one of the reasons is about building community, about getting to know people, about people knowing who you are in a much more sort of direct way. So when you're writing and people are reading what you've written, then they're still sort of trying to form a view of who you are. And you know, the same reasons that people use video, which is about being you and being more visible and known to people, apply to audio as well. Although obviously with the audio you're not showing yourself, you can still get that same level of connection because you're sort of basically going into people's ears, you know, very directly to them. So the idea of building that deeper connection with people, I personally really like audio more than video as a consumer of content because it can be much more convenient. So lots of cars nowadays enable you to play MP3s and so on in the car, so people can listen to you whilst they're driving along. It's something that's quite easy to sort of build into people's lives through multitasking. So I tend to listen to my podcast when I'm walking. So out and about, also maybe when I'm doing cooking or when I'm doing washing up or other boring things like sorting out washing and that sort of thing. Some people like to listen to audio when they're in the gym. So people increasingly are using audio as something to do alongside other things, and you can't really use video for that because clearly you need to be looking at people, or in some cases you need to be looking at people, and that's not quite so easy when you're either driving or doing some of those other things.
Live speaker training every week with Virtual Speaking Pros. Speak with confidence online. Fill your programs, masterminds, boot camps and courses for years to come pain-free.
Share with your wider community. Tweet on Twitter, post on Facebook, share on LinkedIn. Add value to the wider online business community.